Star Wars The Phantom Menace is the most disappointing thing since my son. One more second. The Scooby Doo movie is the most disappointing thing since my failed vasectomy. I mean, talk about butchering a beloved franchise. Well, you're lucky I'm here, cause I'm gonna show you this short video on why that first movie sucked and why the reboot doesn't have to. Part 1. 2002 was the year for Scooby Doo. I'm just saying it right now. The first Scooby Doo movie was a train wreck. The tone of the movie was all over the place, the humor wasn't funny, and Scooby Doo looked like Jar Jar Binks. And when I say the tone was all over the place, I mean it was all over the place. It felt like a million writers came in and put in their vision and it scrambled up into a screenplay. You go from jokes like this.
I'm Mary Jane.
Like that is my favorite name.
I can look at myself naked.
To jokes like this.
Puppy power!
James Gunn wrote the original draft of this movie, and I have a feeling it was a lot more clever than the finished product. It feels like he wrote a really clever script and the studios came in and washed it all down to make it garbage. The problem is you go from a range of adult jokes to kids jokes, but the adult jokes aren't even funny and the kids jokes are insufferable to sit through. There's not enough clever adult humor for adults to sit here and watch this horrible movie, and the kids' humor is just pandering poo-poo. Another thing wrong with this movie is the characters are all wrong. No, I'm not talking about the actors themselves, because they do a good job for the most part. It's a shame that their good acting abilities have wasted on the stupid script, but I'm talking about the characters themselves. It's like they didn't even watch the original series when they wrote this. You have Scooby Doo punching people, and you have Fred saying he wants to look at himself naked. Wow. The way that I see it, there are two options when you make a Scooby Doo movie. Either you go all out and you change the characters completely, you make Shaggy and Scooby stoners, you make Velma and Daffy lesbians, just make them these stereotypes that people make the Scooby Doo characters, and go all out and make it raunchy. Or, the other way of doing it is approaching it like the Brady Bunch movie did. Now when people say that movies like Scooby Doo and the Flintstones and Super Mario Brothers can't work, then they've obviously never seen the Brady Bunch movie. It's a terrific satire that shows that you can make these kind of movies well, but Hollywood is too lazy to make it. Now I'll show you what I mean when I say that they do it well. Basically, if you haven't seen the movie, it's about the Brady Bunch thrown into our real world. They're so naive and they don't know what's going on, but they're thrown into this disgusting 90s reality that we all know. The characters are completely oblivious and unknowing to their surroundings, and it adds up to some terrific comedic potential. I'll show you a scene from this movie. It starts out like a normal Brady Bunch episode with cheesy sitcom lighting and dumb comedy. Then suddenly the youngest Brady goes into their neighbor's yard and the lighting, direction, and tone of the movie changes very drastically.
Blow off, cheese ball. Missy!
Shut up before you have a toxic dump!
It's funny to see something so innocent and campy as the Brady Bunch thrown into our real world, where they react to things like French kissing, sex, breast implants, carjackings, that type of thing. It's basically a fish out of water story without the fish knowing they're out of the water. This is what needs to happen with the Scooby Doo movie. The audience of this day and age doesn't want to see a straightforward Scooby Doo movie with the gang just solving a mystery. There needs to be more layers to it. The humor needs to come from the campiness of these characters and the nostalgic elements of what we grew up with. Throw these innocent, oblivious characters into our real world and there's a lot of potential for comedy. You could even have them solving like a real crime or a murder or something and teaming up with a straightforward cop who plays a straight man to these oblivious cartoon characters. Now I'm just spitballing ideas. I could think of a lot more if I actually sat down and wrote it. But I know for a fact that Hollywood isn't gonna bother. They're gonna hire some writer and director for rent, and they're just gonna make it demeaning it for kids. When in reality, nobody wants to see this, and I think a lot of people would want to see this movie if done right. Scooby Doo has been something that's been around for years, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. Everybody at one point in their life grew up with this series, whether it be a new incarnation or the original. People can relate to these characters in this situation, and they would laugh if you actually delivered a good movie that stayed true to the characters. The 2002 movie didn't do that at all. It was all over the place. The tone of the movie was completely off, and I feel like they didn't go balls to the wall. It was just watered down and it felt like a mess. There were certain moments where you feel like it was fan service, like Scrappy Doo being the villain, but then they messed it up by turning him into a demonic giant pig. Wow. How did you screw up Scrappy Doo being the villain? That is what everybody's been wanting to see for a long time, and you even messed that up. Shame on you, movie. Shame on you. I hope that the creators of this reboot will look at movies like the Brady Bunch movie and realize that this kind of movie can be done right if cared. I got the sense that the makers of the Brady Bunch movie actually grew up and loved the Brady Bunch, and I didn't feel that with the Scooby Doo movie. It feels like a hollow, shallow Hollywood product. Get somebody who cares about Scooby Doo. Get somebody who grew up with this series and can laugh at how campy it was, but still showing some love to it. There's a scene from Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back where they meet the Scooby-Doo gang and they have drugs and Velma and Daphne are all kissing and everything. And I got the sense that Kevin Smith actually grew up with Scooby-Doo. He can laugh at how campy it was, but he still shows his appreciation and love for the original series by throwing him into his movie and making fun of it as he does it. I feel like the people who made the Scooby-Doo movie never watched an original episode. It just doesn't feel right to me, and I hope that Hollywood can do it right. Please do it right, Hollywood. Don't screw up like that Paddington Bear movie. That looks disgusting and creepy. Oh my god!
Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? We got some work to